Thank you so much. It really gives me a great pleasure to introduce this fabulous team from MetroLINK. And MetroLINK transit system is in Rock Island County Metropolitan Mass Transit District in Illinois. And I have to give a big shout out to their president and past chair of the American Public Transportation Association, Jeff Nelson, and also to their chief administrative officer, Jennifer Hirsch, who has been the member of their executive leadership team that has been a part of our program advisory committee here at IA. And of course, okay, the stars and the winners, okay, the team here of our team of youth from MetroLINK, and their topic, a very interesting one, that they selected for their innovation challenge is food deserts, solutions and mobility opportunities. The goal of their innovation challenge is to better understand the uneven food access for different census tracts in Metro's Rock Island County service area, and the injustices they cause and focus. And their focus is on implementing unique solutions to eliminate food deserts in their transit service area. And for those of you who may not be that familiar with it, just quickly, and they'll explain more, a food desert is a region that ranges anywhere from 1/4 of a mile up to 1 mile away from a supermarket or a store. And living within these areas are usually the city's poorest and many minority communities who lack the proper access to these foods, to these food sources. And so that is the theme and the goal of their innovation challenge and the topic that the area that they chose. And now a real pleasure to introduce the members of their team. Amanda Gravel. Amanda is a junior at Augustana College, majoring in engineering physics, environmental studies, and art history with an interest in urban planning and transportation. She's involved in several organizations on campus, including the Sierra Club and the Augustana Physics and Engineering Society. And in her remaining free time, she loves to play the cello and paint. Okay, one of Amanda's primary goals as a student is to become more involved in the surrounding community. So she was really has been really incredibly excited to be able to work with MetroLINK to address the needs of the Illinois Quad Cities. Amanda, thank you very much for joining us today. Benjamin Castro. Benjamin, or Ben, okay, is a transportation planner with MetroLINK. He has been with MetroLINK for about 1.5 years now, and he says that he has loved every minute, okay? Ben graduated from Augustana College in 2021 and studied geography and environmental studies. His interests include environmental justice, sustainable planning, urban centers, and how people interact and shape their landscape. And so, Ben, thank you very, very much for being here today. Next up is Carter Thompson. Carter is currently a junior at Augustana College, majoring in geography and minoring in GIS, Geographic Information Systems. His interests are in the area of sustainable mobility, walkability, multimodal transportation, historic preservation, and land use zoning, okay? And very specifically has a focus on making areas more walkable and more livable, less sprawling, okay? And he's interested in this project because he wants to explore transportation and learn more about it. So Carter, welcome, and thank you for your participation. And then rounding out the team from MetroLINK is Sarah Villani. Sarah is a sophomore at Augustana College, and she is studying environmental studies and geography. She's interested in the environmental sustainability aspects of transportation and how to make the transport sector more environmentally friendly. So with that, it gives me a great pleasure now to turn it over to the team, and we'll begin with their 3-minute compelling statement regarding their innovation challenge. Take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Ben Casher and I'm the transportation planner with MetroLINK. MetroLINK provides public transportation on the Illinois side of the Quad Cities, and I graduated from Augustana College back in 2021. When I was in college, my two majors were geography and environmental studies, and my final presentation actually happened to be on food deserts. So when I heard about this really cool challenge, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Right away, I knew that I wanted to continue the food desert research and also expand on the study area, and then also come up with some really cool and unique solutions to help this awesome community that I grew up in. With transportation being one of the main driving forces and causes of food deserts, I knew that this would be such a really cool and unique opportunity now that I'm the transportation planner and I have the option to really make a difference in this community. So my team members actually happen to be current Augustana College students, and I had such a blast working with them, and they were all amazing. So I would now like to introduce them to you all right now. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carter Thompson, and I'm a junior at Augustana College. And within this project, I was excited about learning about problems within our community, about how transportation can fix them. And one of the most interesting things that I found within our project I thought was really cool is when we threw up our transportation routes, our food deserts, and our food accessibility points, seeing where all they line up and how they can create food deserts, and then thinking about how we can fix those with certain transportation things like OPTICOM or food on wheels or TODs that have food markets around them where people can get food while they are on transit. Those are really the big things that I was excited about learning about and look forward to exploring more with future projects. Thank you.
My name is Amanda Gravel, and I'm a junior at Augustana College in Rock Island, Illinois, majoring in engineering physics and environmental studies with a minor in geography. Working with MetroLINK on this project has given me the opportunity to research and invest in a community that I care deeply about, fighting against the college bubble mindset that I see reflected in too many of my peers. Additionally, this project has given me more insight into the inner workings of public transit in the area, and also gives me the opportunity to explore some case studies of ways that other cities have implemented creative solutions to address inequity with public transit, which I'm excited to continue learning about as other challenge participants present today.
Hi, my name is Sarah Villani, and what I'm excited about most in this project is being able to actually find a solution to the problem instead of just talking about it and what the problem is, which is food deserts for us. And this feels like we're actually able to maybe help make a change to the local communities. And something that I've enjoyed learning about throughout this whole semester and the process is just learning about Rock Island in general and the community behind it. Since I'm not from here, I didn't really know much about it at the start, but now I feel like I know a lot more, which is really cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, MetroLINK team. The floor is now yours, and you may now share your screen.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that introduction. Let me share the screen really quick.
All right. Yep. Looks good on mine.
All right, awesome. Well, yeah, once again, thank you so much for that awesome introduction. My name is Ben Castro, and I'm the transportation planner with MetroLINK. And then, like Dr. Scott said, our topic for this innovation challenge was on food deserts. And then specifically, we wanted to look up solutions to the issue and then mobility opportunities within these areas. So the goal of the project is to better understand the uneven food access for different census tracts or communities within our service area. Then again, to find those unique solutions that can be implemented in order to erase the food deserts. So I would just like to give you a quick little agency overview over MetroLINK. So while we are a small agency, we are pretty mighty. So we service the Illinois Quad Cities of Rock Island County. And then we are also known as a Metropolitan Mass Transit District, but MetroLINK for short. We have around 160 employees, and we offer fixed route bus service, ADA paratransit service. We have a seasonal ferry boat service, which we operate on the Mississippi River. And then we also do other special transportation services for different individuals with disabilities and medical appointments. Then, like I said, we service 8 communities on the Illinois side of Moline, Rock Island, East Moline, Silvis, Milan, Carbon Cliff, Hampton, and Kelowna. So we provide about 3.2 million rides per year. And then we provide those vital connections to things such as jobs, education, healthcare, and retail. And then we just really want to focus on supporting the local economy and creating just a good quality of life for everybody. And then lastly, we really pride ourselves on our transit system, how it encourages new development and economic freedom to make employment and other opportunities easier in our community. So first off, this is a study area of the map that a study area of where we looked. So this is the MetroLINK service area. So it ranges all the way from Milan on the west to Kelowna and Hampton on the east. And then we briefly service into Davenport with one of our commuter routes. So that's highlighted in green. And then like Sarah said in her video, since some of our teammates weren't really from the area, one of the very first things that we did as a team was to kind of go out and explore this area so we can kind of get a better grasp on where we're serving, who we're serving, and then just kind of get a visual cue of the area. So what is a food desert? So we also looked up many different definitions of food desert. So these top two are kind of two that we liked. So it is a region that ranges anywhere from 1/4 of a mile up to 1 mile away from a supermarket. And then also an urban area, which is difficult to buy affordable or good quality fresh foods in. And then from all these different definitions, we kind of combine them all into one team definition, which is on the bottom. Then the definition that we came up for a food desert is food deserts are geographically constructed areas characterized by limited food access and then often defined by a geographical distance away from grocery stores. And they're also areas that have limited access to affordable and nutritious foods. And then why is this important? Like Dr. Scott said in the introduction, food insecurity is oftentimes the highest in low-income families and among racial and ethnic minority groups. And then there are also racial, ethnic, and social class disparities in the ability to access healthy and affordable food. So because of this, we just really wanted to help fight this social injustice in our area and kind of provide better connections to our community to these different food resources. And then we found it very interesting that food deserts are like a geographic manifestation. So they're very demographic driven, which we'll touch on here soon in our project. And then food deserts can also cause poor diets, hunger, and health issues. And then what really stood out to us is we found that these can be caused by inadequate transportation. So we really wanted to hone in on this topic and find different and unique solutions. So this is a map of food deserts in our service area provided by USDA. So the green areas are tracts that are outside of a 1 mile radius of a supermarket. And then the orange is a 1/2 mile radius of the supermarket. So this was really interesting and important to us because based on what we found demographic wise, it really ties back into why this project is important. For example, the east side, so the big green chunk on the west is very minority dense, while on the east it's very low income dense. So this just again ties in with the topic of this presentation on why this is important and why we need to help find solutions. Then, since this was geographically driven, one thing that we found that might have been a cause of this is redlining. So redlining was a way that cities used to kind of almost force people into certain locations. So the red areas were deemed as risky, and then the green areas were deemed as the best areas. And this goes from a grades of A, B, C, D, again, green being the best, blue, still desirable to be, yellow, definitely declining C, and red hazardous. So while we weren't able to find a redlining map on Rock Island, we kind of created our own based on, again, looking into the demographics, looking into the food deserts. Then also Amanda mentioned in her video, the college bubble. So Augustana College, where we all attended, is the big green section on the top right corner. And then the Augie bubble is just kind of people who go to school there don't really go out and explore the area. So they're just really kind of in their own space and don't go explore. So we were really excited for these students and teammates to kind of go out and explore and find solutions to food deserts. So we also did a census tract demographic study. So within those maps, we looked at all the census tracts that were included. And then we looked up the different demographic information on the census tracts that are located in those deserts. So we looked at things like median household income, poverty, race and ethnicity, availability of cars, travel time to work, home ownership rates, and vacant housing units. So the reason that we looked into these demographics is because in our research we found that these things are the most prevalent in the areas. So we just kind of wanted to find out which food deserts were more minority and low income, while others might just be because they're far away from a food resource, but they're still have car availables and they have a good median household income. So we found that the west side of Rock Island was really the most, I guess, important, or not important, but most minority dense and high or low ownership rate, low cars availability and things like that. So one of the things that we did was we created a food resource map. So this map shows all of the different food resources in the metro service area as long as our fixed route systems. So it shows the yellow are grocery stores, red are convenience stores, blue are gas stations, orange are fast foods, green are farmers market, and purple is food pantry. So we included all of these different resources at first just to kind of get a big overarching understanding of what is available in our areas. And we would like to make this available to the public. We just kind of need to polish it up a little bit. So when we make it available, we're probably gonna take away the gas station and fast foods, since those are mostly prevalent in food deserts. We don't really want to promote that. We want to promote the healthy and affordable food resources. So we'll keep like the grocery stores, food pantries, farmers markets, and things like that. And then we also have unique attributes for each of these locations. So when we make this public, if somebody was to click on it, it will show them the store hours, address, what bus route it's serviced by, the name and the telephone number and things like that. So now we're kind of going to dive into the solutions that we found. So first off, route restructuring. So we want to connect the west side of our service area to the nearest grocery stores in Central Rock Island. So MetroLINK is actually currently looking into a route restructure. So this project was just a really, really great way to kind of put this on the table to show kind of our higher ups and our other planners about this issue, to see how we can better service the area. So the top route, or the top map, is our current route, while the bottom is what we proposed. So the biggest thing would be a new crosstown route. So as you can see on the bottom, the green route 30, that would expand to the west side of Rock Island, where the food deserts are the most prevalent. There are large apartment complexes down there, so we want to be able to transport them as quickly and as easily to those food deserts, or not the food deserts, to the grocery stores as possible. So the data that we looked into this was different. We did different rider surveys. So we did a survey in 2023. 53% of the participants said that they'd rather have a longer trip with less transfers than a shorter trip with more transfers. So that's kind of where we took into account that kind of longer route 30, which spanned on the west side to the central. And then we also did a rider survey in 2021. While in that survey, it was around 60 or 70% also said that they'd rather have that longer trip. So we kind of prioritized that. And then we also used historical ridership data as well. Second, we would like to promote local grocery stores and community gardens. So in Rock Island, there's currently a pretty large community garden program. So we would just kind of like to promote that. In that food resource map, we would like to add those as well. And then just kind of encourage the community to use those as well as our grocery stores. And then also in the ridership survey, we found that nobody shops at those local or ethnic grocery stores. So we would like to promote those along our routes as well, and just make sure that people know all of the food resources that are currently available to them. And then the link on the bottom is a link to the current community garden program. Then next is mobile markets, which I believe Amanda will be speaking about.
So in order to address the lack of access to fresh produce, mobile markets have become increasingly popular across the United States.
Cities and nonprofit organizations will often partner with local farmers and grocers to convert a bus, trailer, or semi-truck into a walk-in grocery store. These mobile markets then target lower-income food desert communities to increase access to healthy food options. And they can utilize government grants and local health organizations to provide support in funding and educational materials, as well as financial incentives for fresh and healthy foods. So success can vary, but it's highly dependent on clear communication and advertising, use of effective educational materials, the affordability of products, the variety of products, and then the number of stops the market makes and the timing of each stop. These markets serve as relatively low-cost options to bring healthy food to underserved communities, making them a very viable potential solution to Rock Island's food desert crisis.
And then I believe the bus. Yep, perfect. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. So another option is the bus stop farmers markets. When you have like a small farmers market at each bus station, specifically in like the lower income areas and the areas that have to take a longer trip to grocery stores. And these provide like healthy and fresh food options to those that might not have it. It can also create more jobs in historically low income areas because they would also be working with different farmers market stands to help give the products away. And this would also help partner with the local farmers markets and give them more like help the economy and help support the farmers markets too. And this can also be expanded into other opportunities like teaching cooking classes to those in lower income to help them give them more ideas and like how to cook better with more fresh foods. And MetroLINK, the center station, is hoping to include a pop-up area that is designed for like a short-term retail center.
So my solution that I found out, that I looked into is OPTICOM, which is a transit priority system, which is like, it's like built into the bus and into like the light intersections. And they did a study of this in Memphis along major corridors there, and they were able to shorten trips, reach more people, lower layover time, and save money. The city was, and the individuals who were riding the bus were as well. This was an interesting solution to, because sort of fear that I found within my research was just the act of having reliable transportation and having the transportation being able to take you to that area within a timely manner. So being able to just shorten trips, I thought would mean that people could go to the grocery store more often. Those people who lack transportation most likely go to the grocery store more often because they don't have a car, so they can't like load their week's worth of groceries into their car and drive home. They have to go after work or before work or in the morning sometime to get their groceries for the day or two. So having a more reliable, quicker, more efficient transportation system using OPTICOM and transit priority systems, I thought would be a good sort of solution to this. And also it's like sort of like it uses algorithms and AI to like give like a sort of hierarchical priority system. So like traditionally people in public health, like fire trucks have this. So like they use it to flip it on so they can get to areas quicker. And so then by using it in a hierarchical system and allowing buses to be a part of that system, they can also move more efficiently and get people quicker.
I think that was almost perfect timing. So yeah, again, thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We're really excited to bring these solutions to not only our organization, but also the different cities that we serve, and see what we can work out and hopefully solve this issue.
Perfect. Thank you, team. We're going to reset that clock and we're going to open up the Q&A portion from our judges. So we're going to hand it over to Leslie. Take it away.
Good afternoon, MetroLINK team. I'm Leslie Rogers. Greetings from San Francisco. This issue of food insecurity particularly resonated with me. I support maybe 2 or 3 food banks here, and I'm particularly and keenly aware of this whole notion of food insecurity. I'm a retired executive with the Federal Transit Administration, now engaged in a consulting practice. So I'm especially pleased to join you today. I'm joined also by 4 distinguished colleagues with expertise in so many different areas in the transportation industry. But first, let me turn to our judge, Greer Johnson Gillis from Jacksonville Transportation Authority in Florida. She is the Senior Vice President there and the Chief Infrastructure and Development Officer. Good afternoon, Greer. Any questions?
Good afternoon, Leslie. Yes, and I just want to tell Ben and the team, bravo, bravo. This is something I think we all have experienced in our roles. I know in Jacksonville with the JTA, we actually partnered with the city to see if we could do some sort of on-demand service for seniors to be able to attack the same issue. I loved how you laid out everything. You touched on every facet, whether it was equity, some of the racial and political aspects, so many things. But here's my question for you. I'm going to cut to the chase. Tell me more about the cost of implementation and how you would actually implement. What are your next steps? Great recommendations, great things you've put forward. Now what's next?
Yeah, of course. So so MetroLINK is actually currently looking at a route restructure. So we figured this would be almost the perfect time to kind of tie this in. So that implementation project can be pretty simple, honestly, we see. So then being the transportation planner too, it gives me really a kind of a unique inside perspective as well. And kind of almost like some pull, I guess, too, to kind of make sure that they know that this is an issue. For the local grocery stores and community gardens, we have great working relationships with all the cities that we work with. So we oftentimes partner already with like the townships, the mayors, things like that. So we can just kind of use our connections as well to implement that. And we figure that could be a pretty, again, kind of a relatively low and easy implementation process. Maybe we could probably make some flyers, add different advertisements on not only our website, but with the city as well. The mobile markets, Amanda, I'm not sure if you want to touch on that implementation a little bit.
Yeah. So I've done a little bit of research
into other similarly sized cities that have implemented these. And usually the issue is just because the area is so sprawling, you have to increase the number of stops that each place makes and usually increase the fleet size. But Rock Island has really close ties with our local Unity Point Health Clinic. So they would be able to help out in terms of funding and then also providing educational materials with our mobile markets. And in addition, during the holidays, MetroLINK also already provides a food service. So people can order food in advance and then get it delivered to their house if they're not able to access, say, like a full roast turkey, that sort of thing. So we already have some of those procedures in place. We would just need to expand them to a larger study area.
Excellent. Thank you.
And thank you. We'll next hear from our next judge, Julia Gessner. Julia serves as the Director of Administration for transdev US. Julia.
Hi, everyone. Really great presentation. I just have a couple of questions. So the first one would be, how would you define success of implementing a program like this? Would it be the number of people who attended one of the farmers markets that was at a bus stop? Would it be, feedback from the community? How would you define that and try to quantify it? Because initiatives like this are so important when we're thinking through serving the community, but the reality is all agencies are balancing budget and service. So making sure that you can accurately and effectively communicate the success that an initiative has had is sometimes the difference between you being able to continue with it and your community losing resources. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the way things are. So that's my first question. How would you define success of implementing some of these programs? And then my second one is, you mapped out locations of food or grocery stores, access to food. Have you also looked at this from the lens of healthcare? It might help strengthen your point, or, if you don't think it would strengthen the point, if it would muddy the waters, let me know that as well. But those are my two questions. define success and looking at this from a healthcare standpoint as well.
Yeah, of course. So kind of like you mentioned with success, sometimes it's kind of hard to measure with, just because there was a lot of people that might have attended these things might not necessarily mean it was a success. But in my opinion, almost just success would be just to make sure that people are aware of their different resources. So an example of this is one of the community healthcares in our Rock Island also kind of promoted something similar. They had a free healthcare system, and while they said that not a lot of people attended, they were really happy with the event because the community was very aware and the quality of care that the people were able to get and things like that. And then the healthcare wise, like Amanda said, we do partner with the Unity Point hospitals and clinics. So we didn't really do too much communication with them yet, but we are excited to continue that as well and see what we can do, whether it's partnering with maybe like the local like running clubs, health initiatives, things like that. We're just kind of excited to see where that can go as well.
Thank you. The chair will take a prerogative and raise a question here. And it builds on Julia's point that in times of scarce resources, as to how you balance the budget against service needs. So my question involves the notion of riders engaged in link trips for multiple purposes. So as you engage in the restructuring, how would this loan itself to that activity? What are there healthcare centers or job catchment areas in corridors where you would implement this initiative to address food disparities?
Yeah, so with that route restructure, it would also connect the west side to the nearest township as well. So then at the township, they offered, of course, like the different services they also offer different food resources and other community resources. I know they oftentimes, when I've been in there, they've been helping people find like job opportunities. And then we are actually also currently partnered with the townships. We give out riders from the townships free trips if they're seeking employment. So we're just kind of excited to continue that as well, and then partner with again with the other healthcare options as well.
Thank you. We'll next hear a question from our next judge, Alicia Kane, who's with Cubic Transportation Solutions, and there she heads UMO Solutions and Market Development. Alicia?
For me, it's good afternoon. So good afternoon, everyone. A really thorough presentation. I appreciate the effort that you put into this. I love some of the creative approaches. The bus stop farmers markets is something that I think, you hear about the food trucks that they're putting at the transit centers and things. That's very doable approach to supporting the community. I'm going to move over to the tech side since I didn't hear any tech questions. So the OPTICOM transit priority signal integration with the MetroLINK system. I know we tried to do a project at Hampton Roads Transit where I used to be the CIO there, and working with the planning organization. Have you all started looking at, is MetroLINK already in the process of working with their planning organization to look at opportunities? Because I know in some areas and where I used to live, it would take, to go 3 miles, it would take 30 minutes, that kind of thing. Signal prioritization can help speed that up, and you've made the case and proved it there. Have you worked with your planning organization, or has MetroLINK worked with the planning organization to see if this is a possibility to implement?
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because actually last week during our board meeting, they actually kind of mentioned something like this. So I was really pleasantly surprised. So our regional planning agency is by state. So I know they're talking about it with like with like what Carter said, like the different emergency services. And we figured it could be really helpful with our bus system as well, since we're kind of a smaller agency and in a smaller demographic area. We don't have like the designated bus lanes. So we figured with this system as well, it could really not only improve our on-time performance, but trip lengths. And then, yeah, like I said, I was really excited to hear that our board brought it up as well, that they're looking into it right now.
Very good. Very good to hear.
Great. And next we'll turn to final judge, Andrew Brennan, who's the vice president at the firm of HNTB. Andrew's based in the Boston area, and where he serves as on the HNTB's National Transit and Rail practice. Andrew?
Thanks, Leslie. This was really great. This is such an interesting and important issue. I sort of two pieces of a question. One is, have you thought about, or could you maybe going forward think about, for transit agencies, just developing some simple best practices, like if transit agencies thought about this, or tools that transit agencies could use, or things like that? Are there service policies or rider policies that should be thought about that are actually a barrier to this, or something that could help get access better? And then secondly, I'm wondering do you have to think about it differently for times of year? I mean, what I'm thinking about is students that get meals through school, do you have to think about it differently for the summer or for weekend, or how does it change, and users' needs change as the year progresses, or the month or the week progresses?
Yeah, so with the best practices, we didn't really do too much research on it, but now that you mentioned, I'm really excited to kind of continue looking at it.
Yeah.
Looking at it. Right off the top of my head, I just thought like promotion and then further partnerships as well could kind of help with that, just again to kind of raise the awareness within our communities. And then the time of the year definitely does resonate with us at Metro too, because what we found in the west side of Rock Island, how there's currently not a lot of car availability. A lot of you every time you drive down there, you see a lot of people walking. And then with us being in the Midwest, I mean, the weather is either one dramatic or the other. So it could be freezing cold with 2 feet of snow, or 100 degrees in the summer as well. So with the route restructuring as well, just to make sure that people are they feel comfortable in the way that they're able to access those foods, access their food resources. Then also with the different definitions, we found that a food desert is characterized by either being a mile or a quarter mile. And then we decided to kind of focus right in the middle, so the half mile, because we do understand that 1 mile is a lot different than a 20-year-old versus an older person who might have different disabilities, which causes walking to be a lot harder, and then carrying their groceries. So
indeed, in the West Coast out here, we're more familiar with MetroLINK, the commuter rail system in Southern California, and we know that there's a MetroLINK also in Canada. So it's been so interesting and informative to hear your presentation. So I think do any of my colleagues have one final question? We have about an extra minute. Anyone?
I had a quick question. I did have a quick question. Okay. One of the statements was nobody shops at local ethnic stores. Can you kind of clarify what you meant by that in that slide?
Yeah, sorry about that. So that's what we found. So the people who submitted the ridership surveys, they all kind of just put like the larger chains. So in our area, it's like the Hy-Vees, the Jewel-Oscos. So we didn't find anybody on our system that actually wrote down one of those ethnic grocery stores as some place they shop at.
Because they probably couldn't access it, maybe.
Correct. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
because they don't access it. They don't feel comfortable, since it might be a different ethnicity or something like that.
Gotcha.
So just kind of raise awareness to let them know that is also an option.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, MetroLINK team, as we've afforded every team, we will provide you 2.5 to 3 minutes for concluding remarks. Take it away.
Yeah, well, just again, thank you so much for, putting this project together. I'm really excited to see these other solutions and topics that the other team members, or that the other team groups came up with. And then personally myself, I was really excited, growing up in the Quad Cities, now being the transportation planner for the same system that I grew up in. I'm just really excited to kind of, be the forefront of this change and to make this community as best as it can be. So for me, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I was very thrilled and had a great time working on the project. And then Carter,
Great.
Amanda,
Thanks,
Sarah.
team.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you for the
Yes.
opportunity to be a part of this and get feedback from you guys, and all of it. It was a really good experience. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you
Great.
so much for.
Well, your passion is. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to thank you for engaging the youth.
Community too, just because I know that oftentimes we're overlooked in terms of the expertise that we can provide. And then also just the excitement that I know that a lot of me and my peers have for these types of topics, just because it is something that we don't get a whole lot of exposure to usually. So thank you so much for involving youth instead of the other communities that I feel like are more typically involved.
And Sarah?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity to like get to know Rock Island more, and just for like the new experience and like learning about a different part of the environmental aspect, and just like the different parts that it includes, and learning more about it.
Well, thanks the team, particularly for letting us usurp part of your Sunday afternoon. And with that, we'll turn it back to Dr. Scott to close us out.
That's it. Well, thank you. I can't say enough to thank you, thank each of you and all of the effort that you have put in this inaugural program in terms of innovation challenges and your leadership and your leadership team, because it takes a lot really for an agency to step out when they've got so many things on their plates to give this the kind of attention and priority. And let me tell you, just get a little bit of rest, because we haven't gone away. When you get to be 70 plus years old, you can be in what I call mischief making, and mischief making is implementation of these challenges. So anyway, just get a little bit of rest. Know that your effort has really been so well worth it. Okay. And we're so appreciative. So take care and God bless and have a good one.